One of my first graffiti experiences was when I was quite young. I was really fortunate. My mother was a teacher, and she knew that I was interested in art, so she kind of always encouraged me to explore any type of like art-related subjects, you know, at a young age, which was really sweet of her. And yeah, one of Christmas, probably when I was like 7 or 8 years old, I think I got spray can art, which is now like considered like a graffiti Bible book, basically. And I remember that kind of opened the doors. And I had a sense of graffiti, but being from Buffalo, there wasn't a lot of graffiti to see in the streets at that time. Late, you know, teenager going into my like late teens, I just started like experimenting like any kid, you know, find a spray can, find a little back alley, go test it out, draw, like practice your name. I was drawing my name on paper all the time and different nicknames, coming up with little things, whatever I could think of. Characters, I was really character driven, you know, at first. I think that's realizing now that's a lot of like reason why like I'm kind of like tied to something like this painting. You know, this is basically like a glorified graffiti character. And that was interesting for me. Like finally, as I got a little bit older and I realized, okay, I can like make some of my own choices. New York, I had my eyes set on coming here and kind of like trying to develop a graffiti career. And that was like the real dream, and a lot of that probably ties back to like some of my early exposure with that book. I actually came to New York to write graffiti, which is kind of a wild thing to say, but I think a lot of people have. Welcome to my studio, Street Dreams. I've been here for like 5 years now, and I started working as a shop person at a shop in the Lower East Side, and then kind of one thing led to another. I did that for a long time, and that sort of led me on the path. I knew it was something I was interested in, but initially when I was like young, I actually considered it when I was quite young, and then it wasn't until like years later that I realized like, oh, I can possibly do this. Once I got tattooed for the first time, then sort of like the little bell goes off, the switch flips. Yeah, I mean, some of my favorite things here, probably like
This Hardy print, it was a gift I got for myself when I opened the studio. I felt like I needed to kind of bless the space with something like really proper. So like, that's something I always wanted, and I got lucky being able to find one. Another thing I love, obviously, is this shelf font, Crazy Crime in the City print. That's an original, and like, crazy that I even have that, but it's kind of like one of the crown jewels here, as well as like these pieces up top. My buddy Daniel Brigo painted that oil painting. Looks like a photo, but it's a fucking painting, which is crazy. And then the other one's like a really famous like dyer, like tie-dye guy from upstate from years ago. And then this wall I kind of tried to design it so it was like minimal noise. I wanted to set up like a black and white wall rather than have like a lot of crazy color stuff in here, you know? Like, I didn't want this to feel like you were stepping into like a street shop. I wanted it to be like a nice blend between tattooing and like my other interests and like the art that I really appreciate. The other crazy thing about this wall is it features the two back piece designs that my friends are coming today, and we're gonna show this crazy Coleman dragon and then this like classic battle royale. We're gonna try to like replicate this historic like Spalding photo with the two classic backs. I'm excited. It's something I've been wanting to do for a couple years, and finally like getting them together. Joanne is pretty much, I think it was the first back piece I did in here, and this is the most recent. So now we're kind of seeing like full circle, like it's all coming together. And it's funny, I did this Hokusai wave for him. And when I did this, I remember being like, yo bro, you might get a back piece. And he was kind of like, maybe one day, I don't know.
Yeah, well, you put the idea and you planted the seed in my head. And I was just like, you know what, I kind of do want one.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to doing more backs. Like, I'm really happy that we started your back yesterday, because I feel like it's one of my strongest suits in terms of like, what I really enjoy tattooing, as well as like sort of excel at. Like, I've done probably 20 or 30 backs now. So to actually kind of like think about my catalog of work and see the progression, like, I feel like with the process of the back, the way that you eventually kind of like get to rework a lot of stuff and build on and continue to layer, like these tattoos come out so polished and strong that they're like way beyond like, a one-shot thing that like you do, like, and you might never see it again. I feel like I really excel, and I'm proud of all the ones I've done, so it's been good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this trip, and this will be my second time going, so that's going to be cool. Same time as last year, we went Thanksgiving. And I'm in a group show again, which was the same show that we did last year. It's called Super Friends, and it's really cool. It's a mixture of like a lot of American artists as well as like some Japanese artists. It's almost like 50-50, which is kind of exciting. So I'm gonna meet a lot of new people. So what was weird is when I went to Japan for the first time, I felt super familiar with a lot of the imagery and stuff, which I didn't realize was gonna be so comfortable for me. But growing up in like the 80s and 90s, a lot of that stuff was around. Like when you visit a place, you're sort of expecting like immediate culture shock. But then to sort of be like, oh yeah, I'm kind of familiar with a lot of this, was a really cool feeling. Here we are in Shibuya. Lucky to be here. We have a group art show with a bunch of friends tonight at the Ruka space. They have a gallery upstairs right here above the store. And out here for about 2 weeks. So pretty busy doing a lot of different stuff like while we're in Tokyo. And trip's been amazing. A lot of friends here, tons of people from New York. So overall, it's been like incredible experience.